career at this day and age. So I think for me, maybe let me share a little bit about my own journey. Hello, hello, hello. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I think I lost my connection. Yeah. So I was trying to speak about my own journey. So for me, I'm a graduate of economics. I graduated from Alabama University. I decided in my towards the end, towards my final year in 2015, to go into tech because to an extent I could see some prospects from an economic point of view that in the nearest future, technology is really going to change a lot of things. So I decided to go into tech and I started trying to learn on my own. I tried a lot of YouTube stuff and some other stuff back then, which didn't get to really work so well because one, I don't have a core, let's say, computer science or technology background, so to say. So, but in short, I stick to the old stuff. Then down the line, I decided to go extra miles to try to buy some courses, try to take some things on Coursera. I think there are some other MOOC platforms back then. So I tried to learn year from there, from there. And that really made the journey a little bit all over the place. So it's made it very hard for me to really become very good early. But around 2016, I decided to purchase a structured course, which I think is a real deal because trying to learn on your own, trying to piece together a curriculum for yourself, it's really not a good recipe unless you get a planned curriculum that maybe some people have gone through and is tested and trusted. So it was at that point I purchased a course from, I believe, Udemy by Coach Tilly, web developer bootcamp. So I was able to follow along with the course. Then I graduated from the university, went for service, and during service, I was posted to a polytechnic in River State. But the polytechnic, they rejected my offer from NYSC. So when I got rejected, so I went back to NYSC and I found my way, like since I know I have tech skill, so I tried to get myself into an IT company in Port Harcourt. So I was eventually reposted as an NYC intern to the IT firm. It's around Wuji, Success Trend IT company in Wuji in Port Harcourt. So that was technically where so that was more like my first real job as a techie. Then in the process, I also tried to start speaking with people around. So when I go for my CDS, I try to talk to maybe local restaurant owners, and also I also got my first gig around that same time, 2017, I believe. My first side gig, so I got it. It was a restaurant food booking web application, like more like a website for the restaurant to upload their what's it called to upload their food and people can purchase and all and all. So after my service, I went deeper, started working for different companies, and here I am today, working on my own establishment as a software engineer in my own software agency, and I also run a tech school. I also have a tech school, Pantera Tech School, where we train people on a lot of tech skills, both coding and non-coding tech skills, front end, back end, product design, data analytics, and a whole bunch of other courses. So that is my own journey. In summary, a lot of things I had to skip because I don't want to take us much time. So what I would say is, if I, as a person right now, if I want to go into tech, how would I have done? Is there some things I would have done differently? That would be the question I was asking myself when I got invited to come and speak about starting a tech career. So what I just did was I tried to pen down a 9 point step that I think, if with my present knowledge, if I'm to be a novice and I'm to advise my old self about how to go about it, um, I'll try to follow this step that I have highlighted here. So the first thing on my own list is, I believe you need to identify first a specific part in tech that you want to really do. So for most guys that are just coming into tech, they want to learn how to hack, they want to learn how to build Internet of Things, devices that can communicate, they want to know data science, they want to know web development, they want to know a whole bunch of stuff all at the same time. So to me, I think that is a recipe for disaster. So if you're getting into tech, what I would advise anyone to do first is identify a specific path you want to actually go into. And if I'm to advise that, oh, what should be the criteria with which you make this decision, it would be, I'll say it should be informed by your own personal strength and your natural inclination.
Big
Is
now.
I think there's a noise from someone. Mr. Adekunle, can you mute yourself?
Coming now.
Don't worry, I've muted you. Hello? Can everybody still hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So, as I was saying, so the first step would be to, okay, I'll just send it into the chat, yes, or maybe, yeah, so I just sent it to the group. So the first thing I'll advise anyone that's trying to get into tech now is first identify a specific part you want to really go into, whether it's a coding informed tech part or a non-coding informed tech part. So for instance, if you feel you're not so comfortable with coding and all that, you can do product design, you can do data analytics, even though data analytics still have some coding, but it's very, very limited. Hello, since there's, hello. Yeah, I think your video is part of what is, yeah, okay. So identify your paths, whether you're trying to go into web development, whether you're trying to go into mobile, whether you want to go into ethical hacking, whether you're trying to go into cloud, whether you're trying to go into product design, to data science, data analytics, and a bunch of other stuff. So identify your own paths And if you're trying to make a decision about your own path, try to look at what are your own personal inclinations. So, for instance, for people that I think are more logical, I'll be like, okay, even when they're trying to enroll with us at my own tech school. So, what I tell them is, if you know you are a more logical person, maybe just go for back-end development. You understand? If you think you are someone who is enticed with the things you see, maybe you go for front end, maybe you go for product design. If you don't even want to learn coding, but you like seeing beautiful stuff and all. So I think that's the first step. You deciding within yourself what career paths in tech do you want. And to an extent, it can also, apart from being informed by your strengths and your natural inclination, it can also be informed by maybe how much on average do people get paid for this skill? And apart from how much on average they get paid for the skill, what is like the career growth? Because learning at times it's not just about learning a skill; it's about learning a skill that can really feed you, that can also sort your bills. Because the truth is, as Adam Smith said, he said. It's not to the benevolence of the baker or the butcher or the brewer. So everybody is not doing anything for free. So you can also make a decision based on maybe in the area you stay in, what tech skill actually sell more. So for instance, if you are in an area that is local, you might be thinking, oh, if you learn data science and you're staying in one remote part of Nigeria, obviously it's going to be very hard for you to get a job in that remote part, except you decide to either start searching for remote jobs that are trying to take you as an intern, which even makes it harder because who wants to take an intern that is working remotely, that is not even really an expert at the task? You understand? So those are the things you look at when you want to look at to want to pick your specific path. The second one is the second point is about having a guide. So the having a guide to me is in two portion. So is in two portion. You should have two guides. Technically, you should have a role model and you should also have a mentor. So this is to my own definition. Your role model is basically someone who is really big in that part or in that space that even you might not be able to have direct access to because maybe they are busy, they have a lot of work, and but there are people that are like in terms of there's something called Abraham Maslow hierarchy. Sorry, don't let me use that. Or maybe I can use that in the hierarchy of needs. So the I at the very top of the pyramid are people that are really achieved a lot. So people that are at the top of the pyramid in that part that you're trying to go in that tech part, you can pick someone there as your role model. So your role model might necessarily not be someone you are able to meet or that when you send a message can respond to you within an hour or two. Please give me a moment. I need to. Yeah, as I was saying, so your role model might necessarily not be someone that is easily accessible for you, but your mentor could be someone who is more like an intermediate person in that part, someone who is already finding their feet in the path. They might not be a super achiever, we get, but there are people that they are ahead of you and you can easily gain something from. So those are the kind of people I'll say you should find again. So get yourself a role model in that part, then get yourself a mentor in that part. So a mentor might be someone who, so let's say I want to learn, I've decided that I want to learn web development. Then I want to focus. So the first thing I'm trying to do is who are people that are really, really big in web development. So I can say, okay, let me try to find someone who has trained thousands of people, maybe someone like Steel or this guy, all these guys, like these big foreign guys that write tutorials on YouTube. Those guys have trained people that over time they've gone to work in big tech companies. So they might not be people that you'll be able to easily access, but they can technically be your role model. You get as example. So you can just be following along with what are the activities, what are the new things they're learning, what are the prospective stuff they are talking about. You understand? Then you can now look at, okay, who can be your mentor? Your mentor can be a guy called Taju who works on the island in Lagos already as a front-end engineer, maybe with 2, 3 years experience. So if I'm learning HTML now and I have issue, I can easily reach out to Taju, right? I cannot easily reach out to my role model, who is in called Steel or whatever. Sorry that I can't remember their names off the top of my head. So that is what point 2 is about. Get yourself a role model that you want to be like, then also get yourself a mentor that is more in between and closer to you. Then the third point is be closer to your mentor and always try to know what your role model is doing. So that still follows from my explanation in 2. You're closer to your mentor because your mentor can still have time to take you through your issues when you're having a blocker while learning. The fourth point that I'm going to talk about is having a peer group. So this might really go under the radar for a lot of people because they feel they are super smart, super intelligent, so they feel they can easily just pick a material, learn it all on their own. But from a few things that tech has shown me with my years of experience in this space is that most times, even when you become an expert, you have to work with people. So if you don't, from the beginning, learn to communicate how you think and also learn to hear how other people think about issues and all, that can also hinder your growth when you start working. So when you want to start there, if you have a friend who is also thinking in a similar way, if you find 2 or 3 of them, the 3 of you can start learning together. You can start meeting once or twice in a week. Oh, we're learning HTML. Okay, I am having issues with HTML tables. You are having issues with HTML form. So that way, right from when we start learning, that would be my own fourth step to identify like minds first. Then the fifth one is most times is what people also skip. They skip it, but it's also very important. Is that decide what learning mode works better for you. So, for instance, there are some people that they are self-motivated. They can learn in a virtual recorded classes. So, for instance, places like Udemy, Udacity, they provide you with recorded virtual classes. The classes have been recorded, the materials have been pre-recorded. So you now have to stomp through it by yourself. You might experience issues. You have to debug those issues by yourself. So that is like, so for some people, they learn well with those kind of arrangements. For some people, I've met people that unless they come to the class and we teach them in our physical training class, they don't get to understand this concept very well. You understand? So for some people, they want they learn better in physical classes. Some people can still learn with live virtual classes. So for instance, at Mandela Tech School now, we offer live virtual classes. You can join our live class through our web application, and you can interact with the instructor in real time as he's teaching and talking about the concepts. So some people learn better in that kind of arrangement rather than recorded virtual classes. You see some people, they learn very well with articles and documentations. For instance, for me as a person, I learn better with articles and documentations. Then I also learn, if I'm learning for the first time, I want to learn with recorded virtual class. But if I want to become good at it, the next thing I want to do is to find articles, read other people's idea around that same thing, and gain more knowledge. You understand? So you as a person deciding which of this medium or model of learning works better for you helps you better at number 6. Number 6 is about uh, enrolling for a class with planned curriculum. Most times people jump to number 6 and they don't even do it well. Like they just look for what is the place where I can learn from. Maybe I can just go to YouTube and search for front-end development course, and I just start learning. And so most times when you learn from YouTube, you realize that some of these videos, there are gaps in between them. Some things have been skipped, some things, because most of those YouTube videos are actually edited videos. The person instructing you edit out all the times when he was having issues with that same code. He has removed all those portions. So you just come there, you think you can finish a 30-minute video in 30 minutes. I'll tell you, even people that have recorded 30-minute video, it probably took them 3 to 5 hours to create a 30-minute video, both from recording, editing, and all that, and putting around all sorts of things. So if you now think you can sit down and just grab it in 30 minutes, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So what I would advise people is go big on number 6, which is enroll for a class with a planned curriculum. So if you decide that, okay, an MOOC platform like Udemy or Udacity is good for you, and you can afford their courses, pay for it, a course that you think has a considerably good number of rating, you can enroll for it. You know, it has a planned curriculum that can take you from beginner to at least an expert level when you complete it. So that is the kind of thing I advise people. So if you think it's a physical class you want, you can look for tech school like ours, like Pantera Tech School, that offer physical classes and have a planned curriculum from beginning to the end. You can enroll there. If you also think you want something that has been pre-recorded, that is more like a workshop, you can go for something like Front-End Masters. Front-End Masters offer that. If you think you do better at reading articles, learning from articles, you can go for something like Pre-Code Camp, I believe. So those are trainings that have planned curriculum, and they run on different models. So when you know the model that works for you, then you can go for your planned curriculum. So that will be my number 6. Then after number 6, the next thing I'll talk about is number 7. Number 7 is where most beginners also get it wrong. Most people believe that once they enroll for the courses, after the 3 months training, after the 6 months training, they are super good and they can just go get a job at Google or get a job at whatever. And you'll be shocked that you still have a lot of learning to do, particularly when it comes to working as a professional techie. So that's where number 7 comes in. Number 7 comes with you trying to build your own portfolio by offering your services for free or cheap. So for instance, you go to a local church that you think they don't have a website, you can just offer to build one for them for free, and they pay for, maybe they pay for the hosting, maybe they pay for the domain, you understand? When you do that, what you have done is you have technically offered your service for free in order to have a proof that you can show someone else, a social proof that you can show someone else that you can actually do that thing. So you might even be surprised if you do the church website very well. Somebody from the church can be like, oh, I have a business. I also need a website for my business. Then you make something from there. You can do the same thing for, okay, maybe you have a relative that has a small store that is selling food or selling something. You can just think of something fun to build for them that can help their business. When they use it, you see, so from there, even if they themselves don't patronize you, those 2-3 projects, they are projects you can show to a company that you're trying to work with as a junior engineer and show them, oh, I've worked on this for free, I've worked on this for cheap. I believe I can deliver for you. You know, you've given yourself that proof that you actually, because completing all those curriculum from number 6 is not the only thing. Like you actually now showing is a proof that not only did you complete your trainings, you can actually build something, is what number 7 is all about. So let me go to number 8. Number 8 is about learning how to speak about your accomplishments in 7. You know, in 7, you build cheap projects, you build few free projects. You can start posting about these things online to entice more mentors. Because one thing is, so for instance, a lot of people have learned that I've mentored. So if I have a project and I need extra hands, I will not easily throw out an application. What I will do is, among the people I've mentored, who can I still vouch for their expertise? Then I'll call them on board. Oh, XYZ, are you open to working with me on this project? This project is X amount. I'm giving you Y percentage of this X amount. You understand? So when you get closer to your mentors and you show them the things you have done, when you go online, you post about things you have done. This is now you trying to market your skill, trying to market yourself better. Then from there, you start getting a lot of offers, right? So that is what number 8 is about. It's about you trying to get more mentors, trying to get more prospects that are interested in your skill, whether for a job or for a contract. So that's number 8. And the number 9, which is the last one, is I think is you yourself should also now start thinking of how can you try to help others that are trying to get into tech, because you are already, even though you are not an expert, you are not a big achiever in the industry, but you have something because you've worked through the process. You yourself can now go back to step 1 and try to bring other people from step 1 to 8 again. So that's going to be in summary my own step by step how I would have gone about it if I'm starting afresh today. So thank you. I'm open to questions.
All right, that's really interesting. I don't know if you can hear me. Am I break?
There's an echo.
Okay, please, can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so please, does anyone have any question? Hello. Do we have questions for him?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Miriam.
All right. From my end, I can say that I don't have any question. It's kind of been a wonderful presentation and so helpful to us. So we really appreciate. Thank you so much, sir, and we hope to see you again in our other events. Thank you.
Okay, so I have a question, Mr. Oleranju. Okay, so my question is, how, as a newbie in tech, starting a career in tech, how do I
Hello. I didn't get your question. Your voice was scrambling, so maybe you can type the question in the chat box.
Okay, let me do that. So I just dropped my question.
Imposter syndrome as a newbie. Well, the question is a bit, what's it called? Well, I feel, let me try to get the meaning of the imposter syndrome right now. It's like a newbie is thinking they are better, they are not as good as they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I believe imposter syndrome
Especially when you
is
have
when
to, yeah, when you have to put yourself out and then you're trying to learn a thing and it seems you're not doing anything at all.
well, if you're trying to learn something, and it's even for people that are working, like for someone that has 5, 6, 7 years experience, there might be a new process of doing something or a new implementation of something that we all do, and you just wouldn't know it, and you still have to learn. You understand? So I think the question is, I'm finding it hard to really get the question. How do you deal with imposter syndrome as a newbie? Because imposter syndrome is technically you telling yourself you are not as good as you are. But what I'm now thinking is, as a newbie, are you really that super good? Because if you're super good, you're not a newbie then. So it's making the question paradoxical for me. But what I'll say is, if as a newbie, you're feeling like you don't give yourself enough credit for how good you are, well, what I'll say is try to challenge yourself more. So challenge yourself more by thinking about, okay, what new projects can I do to make me feel like I've accomplished more. So for instance, maybe what you do before is to only build UI of applications. Okay, what if I decide that I want to build an application that is command line based? You understand? You know, when you feel you're not as good as you are, most times the real way to really go about it might not even be about trying to learn something new. Might not be about trying to learn something new. It might be about using the present strength that you have to do something that will make you now become more appreciative of yourself. Do you understand what I mean? So if I feel like I'm very good at JavaScript and I give myself what's it called for then, I can think of how can I build a web scraper with JavaScript. I can now build 3D shapes or 2D shapes with JavaScript and something like 3JS. You understand? So that is what I would do if I'm feeling imposter syndrome. I'll just try to do something that will challenge me. So I'll now realize that, oh, I'll feel like when I accomplish it, even myself, I'll feel like, oh, then that means I'm not as worst as I think myself to be. So that would be my answer to the imposter syndrome question. The second one is, how can someone get breakthrough in a tech field where there are so many professionals? You know, I said something the other time, I think that was point 7 or point 8, which is that you should get closer to your mentor for gigs and offerings. Because, so one thing I've discovered is this. Most times people get jobs through food application. So food application is a company needs someone, they need to fill a role, they post 100, 200, 1,000 people apply, then they start surfing through, then it becomes a game of very, very tiny margin. You understand? Then they just get thrown away because of maybe small mistake on their CV or something that doesn't market them so well. So that is the problem with when you try to come in through food application. But when you get closer to your mentors, you know, so for instance, my first time I'll get a project from outside of Nigeria that I'll get to work with companies from outside of Nigeria. One was from a friend. We've worked together on a big project in Nigeria. So when his own friend, who is also an engineer, who is in the US, needed extra hand for some of their company's projects over there, that was when they reached out to me that, oh, he told his friend that, oh, I think I have someone who might just fit in very well, who is very good. We built XYZ together. We actually built a project called legalbox.ng together. Then with that, my friend, that was like 5 years ago or thereabouts, or 4 years ago or something. So in 2020, my friend that we built the legalbox.ng together spoke to his friend about me that, oh, there is a guy who I think can help you with this, bring him on board. And that was how I got my first foreign offer like 3 years ago. So what was I trying to drive at? What I'm trying to drive at is the best way for you to really break through is through that group. You know, I told you, form a peer group, then have a mentor. So everything is so that you won't be in isolation. Because when you are in isolation, you have to fight a lot of people that have mentors that are telling them the right things to do. So the best way for you to really get to know to do the right things is to follow the right people. You understand? So when you're following the right people, when they have opportunities, they will refer you. Referrals get you job faster than who the application can give you. Referral gives you like 80% chance of getting a job. You understand? But good application, you have to go through a lot of levels, and it might not be so easy for you to scale through. You understand what I'm trying to drive at? So following the right people helps you in that regard, because it just takes out that feeling that the industry is saturated. The industry, most times, you can say it's saturated. You have your reason, probably, and maybe because a lot of big companies are laying off people. So when they lay off people, what happens is the lower level jobs that are available, those guys that have been laid off by the big guys, they become more attractive for such offers if before you that you are coming from the bottom of the pyramid. You understand? So that's why it might look tough for you to break through if you are not following the right people. Another question here, how do one find the right stack to stay on when there's so much to learn? It can be confusing as a newbie. Well, I think if you go back to my first point, which is pick a very, very specific path. You understand? So even if I want to learn front-end development, the next thing I want to ask myself is what frameworks are available for a front-end development, a front-end developer. Maybe I have a React, I have Angular, I have Vue, I have Svelte. Those are the top 4, right? Then the next question I'll ask myself is, which ones are easy to get a job in? Maybe easy to get a job with the Angular and React. Okay, which one is the easiest for me to get a job in Nigeria? Maybe that's React, you understand? Then I'll go with React. You get so finding your stack should be informed by your own personal inclination and what the market wants. There is no reason. I see no reason why someone should say they want to go learn cloud computing when the openings you'll be seeing for interns in Lagos, we have very little number of cloud computing intern. You understand? Intern role. You understand? So those are the decisions you make for yourself. I'm not saying going into cloud computing is bad or you can't see, but you trying to start from where can be easy for you to get marketed and get something out of it is better than you just trying to pick a tech stack based on buzzword. What kept you going when you felt like giving up? What was your motivation? For any African guy that didn't come from a big family, hunger is always the number one motivation. Even when you're working as let me put on my video again. When you're working as let's say a freelancer and all, there are times when you're working on a project, the project is almost completing and you're looking around and you can't see any new projects you're starting anytime soon. So even you yourself, you're already thinking the problem is coming very soon, you understand? And even that alone gives you a motivation that, oh, I don't want to mess up. Do I want to go back home? Do I want to, for some of us that we know our parents, we didn't grow up in Lagos, we didn't grow up wherever we are, and we know our work is what has pushed us down up to this point, then you start thinking, do you really want to fall off? So that chance that you feel like you don't want to go back can really motivate you. And at times, your peer too can be a good motivation. So I'll cite you an example. So for instance, some of my peers that we started, a lot of them have gone outside of Nigeria now. They are working with big companies in the UK, in the US. Some are even working with companies that are building frameworks like Gatsby and Nexus.js. Some of my own friends that were peers when we started. So when you have those kind of peers that even if you are having a hard time, unless you're a toxic person, if you're having a hard time and you see that, oh, your friends are still moving in the right direction, it motivates you that, oh, you yourself can, if you crack the right formula, the right action, you yourself can also be in that direction. You understand what I mean? So your peer too having the right peers that are also working to become better as a techie, it's going to be very hard for all of you to be going through hard time at the same time. So when your guys are doing well, even when you are struggling, they can drag you. You understand? They can pull you along. They know, oh, maybe you are struggling with this. Okay, you have a friend, then you can say, oh, XYZ, I'm not feeling too good today. Can you help me with this, my task? You understand? So even you yourself, if you yourself have also been that person. So for instance, a friend of mine just got into tech and he was having issues with his task yesterday. He spoke to me and I was like, oh, come down to my place, bring your system, and we fix the issue together. You understand? So there are times when and he was already having a bad day already because he's been struggling for 2 days with that same issue. You understand? So those kind of things are things that can help you when you're really going down. Your hunger can be a motivation. Your peer can also pull you out of the dark, out of the quicksand. So those are two things I can identify. Personally, maybe I don't want to talk about things that give me motivation personally. The third one, starting out as a techie, how did you balance it with your social life, with family and friends? Well, I don't think I'm the right person to answer this question because I'm not a super social person. So in fact, I prefer to keep my energy inside and rest. I prefer to rest at home. Buy if I want to take a drink, buy my drink, have it in my house. So I might not be in the best situation to tell you how to balance it. And for me, personally, why I don't like going out in Lagos. If I want to go out in Lagos, what I do is I go out during weekdays because I work remotely, I work alone. So I can go out during the day when other people are in office. So the road is relatively freer, the public spaces are have fewer people. So for me, I prefer to have my phone in that kind of scenario. I don't want to have my phone on weekend when everybody is outside and I have to go through a lot of stress coming back home. So for me, I don't think I can answer the question the way you would have wanted it. But in my own way, I try to have my own little fun in my own space at home on the weekend. Weekdays, I try to go out if I feel like, but if I don't feel like, I just stay at home and rest. I take my rest to be more important than my dancing at the beach or dancing at the club and also I might not be the right person to answer that. But I know I have 30 friends that are very, very social, both males and female, and they are doing well. So I cannot say it's impossible. But for someone like me, I don't think I'm in the best position to answer that question. So any other question?
Does anyone has any question for him?
Okay, maybe if there are no questions, maybe I can leave. Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much. We are very excited to have you. So before then, let me just go over the Bincom slides. I was unable to share earlier because of network.
You're muted.
All right, so this is Bincom Dev Center, and yeah, at Bincom, we are a multi-location technology talent development solution platform. Okay. Please, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so Bincom Dev Center is a multi-location technology talent development and solution platform. We have different centers in different locations. Virtually, we are everywhere. And then our physical locations is at Yaba, Lagos State. We have one in Ibadan, Oyo State. We have in Kano State. We have in Kaduna. We also have in Ijebu Ode, Ogun State. We have in Warri Delta State, and we also have in the United Kingdom, but virtually we are everywhere, and we also plan to extend to at least 30 states in Nigeria. So Bincom Academy, in Bincom Dev Center, we have different services. We have the Bincom Academy, which utilizes the Montessori approach in training participants in basic skills needed for modern technology ecosystem. We have the Bincom Tech Internship. This is designed to enable people at intermediate skill level gain mastery and expertise over a period of time. We have Bincom Tech Apprenticeship. Industrial, if you're looking for industrial attachment at various skill levels to gain experience and exposure, Bincom Tech Apprenticeship is for you. Then we also have the Light Space, which provides helpful workspace intended to encourage collaboration and drive innovation in startup ecosystem. We have spaces that is created and designed for various events like seminars, conferences, and get together. So if you're close to any of the physical locations and you need a place to actually host your events or host your meetups, we have our Light Spaces there for you. Okay, we also have the Bincom Global Tech Program, and the Bincom Dev Center Global Tech Program is your solution to launch your tech career globally. So if you're looking to learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure, this program is for you. We have the Emigrate. It helps you become globally attractive. It gives you a tech profile and a tech-enabled visa for business, and your tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement in countries like the UK, US, Canada, and France. We have others too. You can see them in my screen. Okay, so I'll just play this video for us to watch so we can get a little insight into what we are about.
Okay, fine.
And I've got trust in how so you don't need to add any money. You don't apply for the ICT program. You want the financial options that are really for this program. It's the income sharing agreement. All I've been doing is that the company will sponsor the learning. So you will learn for a period of 1 to 2 years, and you don't start paying back on the income and start earning your income after this program. This is a advice on skills, experience, and exposure. The company is also willing to invest its own money in money. That's the just how what I need to we need to go on our website, bincom.net/global-tech. We need to register and then launch your global-tech career. I'm sure that the tech industry is waiting for you. Thank you.
All right, so that's the much about Bincom. So if you have any concern and you need my attention, you can always send a message to me. I can drop my email address here. Okay, so Mr. Oleranju, most of us would like to connect with you. Can you send in your maybe LinkedIn link so we can connect with you on your platforms, your social media platforms? Oh, I think he's gone already. Okay, all right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. It's exciting that we all came out for this session. I'm excited to see all of you, and I hope we have a good weekend. The second speaker had some issues, so we were unable to, he was unable to sign into the meeting. That's why we only had one speaker for today. All right, guys, thank you so much. Happy weekend. Stay safe.
All right, bye.